I'm just going to switch over to the application for a moment. And normally when you launch the application, if there's an update available, you'll see a pop-up message, or it can be right here under notifications and you'll see an alert. But normally there's a pop-up message indicating when there is a version available for download. On your desktop computer though, it's absolutely fine for you just to switch on over to our main webpage. And you can just visit mylio.com and click the download button in the upper corner, and that will allow you to download and install the apps. Also, most of you are probably set up on your devices so that your mobile devices have automatically updated already. If you ever want to check what version of Mylio you're on, you can click in the upper corner and go to Help. And then you can just scroll down and choose About Mylio Photos. This one's pretty easy because it's version 24.0, so that's really simple to know what you're on. But as we start to push out small updates, like I know we have another one coming in a couple of days, I suspect, that will update this number here, and you'll be able to see what that number looks like. Also, we do publish information, so you can always head on over to the release notes. So if you go under the Help menu, and you are inside of Mylio, you can actually go on over to the support page, or you can go on over to the forum and the communities, and you'll find information there. So you'll see there's different information within this. JC, what's one of the best ways if they want to contact support? This should take them right to the page, correct? Contact Mylio support?
Correct.
That'll send information.
Yeah, when they click fill out web form, it takes them right to the form where they submit the information.
Yep, and that's great.
Just like that.
Yep, and if you are there as well, there's that download button. You can check out our community and our forum. Right there on the forum, we also have the changelog. And so that's where you can see all of the release notes of different information. JC usually takes care of posting these. And you can see a nice update of all the summary of what that looks like. And if you want a more in-depth version that has pictures and such, you'll usually see in the news section that we have a post as well. And this will give you a lot of walkthrough about what some of those highlights are with the new items. And so as you can see here, as I am scrolling through about 15 pages of information I had to post yesterday, it's a very sizable update. Okay, so that should make it very easy if you need that. Remember, you can always just download from mylio.com. If you ever need to install the software on your computer, all you have to do is click the button in the upper corner, provided that you spell your own URL correctly. The joys of reading glasses. There we go. Just click download now, and it should detect and start to download, and you'll be able to access that. Notice too, you can also get the quick start guide and the keyboard shortcuts. Now, speaking of those resources, there are a couple of great things that we just released. Angela, we just put out the manual update, correct? And so a lot of new stuff in there. Can you tell people a little bit about that? And then I'll bring up some of the other educational self-help resources.
Sure. So we have a brand new reorganized manual for you guys. We've made it a little bit easier to walk through, hopefully friendlier to use. It kind of starts where you would need to start with the application, with adding your media and how to browse and get around. And then as you go further down in the list, it gets into some of the more advanced features. It's fully searchable. There's a PDF you can download if you want to have access to it offline. And you can also leave comments on the pages. So if something isn't clear to you, leave a comment. I am personally the one that sees that, and I will be happy to address any concerns that you have.
Yeah, you can just download that manual like so. And I'm just going to grab that file and reveal it. And remember, you've got this great feature on your computers called the Mylio inbox. There it is, for example. So I can just drag that into my Mylio inbox for organization later. But now that's going to go ahead, if I have a Mylio Photos Plus pen, and actually replicate across all my devices. So that way I have the PDF of the manual available, even if I had offline access. And as you said, Angela, there's lots of things searchable in here. What are some of the things that you would suggest that people check out because they're new and there's a lot to them?
So I would start with, if you've been using Mylio for a while, start with that chapter called Working with Categories and Spaces. I think that's going to be probably the most helpful to you right off the bat. I would also then jump down under the sharing section. That's where we talk about how you can create a shared album. And if you are a Mylio Photos Plus member and you want to take advantage of some of the advanced features with spaces like remote control, you're going to find those under the backup and protect section. So those are going to be the areas that you might want to focus in on.
Great. And then, of course, for everyone else, or if you're relatively new to Mylio Photos, we have a significantly easier way to get started. Lori, you actually put most of this together, and that's over here under the Learn section. If you wouldn't mind telling people a little bit about what some of the things are that they can find there.
Sure. If you could click on Getting Started. Yep. So these are some great short videos. They're about a minute or so long, not very long, but they go through all the basic things you need to do to get up and running. So there's installation both on your computer, on your phone, importing media with our guide here. And it's just a really quick way to get access to some quick information. So I'd really encourage you, especially if you're just starting out, check out these videos and get some quick information.
Yep, and those are just designed to make it easy. So if you just need to get up and running quickly, or maybe you take advantage of the new option with Spaces or shared albums to start sharing your pictures with other people. Let me keep that microphone near me. And they want to start using Mylio themselves. This is a great way for a newer user to get started, is with that Getting Started guide. Okay, the quick start guide there, as you see. So do take advantage of that. It should be helpful. Okay, so we've covered some of the core things there related with upgrading. We're going to jump back in the application, and in just a moment, we'll be having a guest join us. We're going to be taking a look at how to use dynamic search and quick filters and quick collections. But this is a great time, if you haven't done so, if you want to also take advantage of the Q&A. So definitely feel free to put the Q&A there. You're asking about, one person's asked about how they get this video for later. Yeah, we'll be posting these to our community and to the forum as well, so those will be easy to find. I just wanted to point out here that this is a pretty happy Mylio. I've got tons of things in sync here. You'll notice, for example, that I have a few devices offline, like my iPad and my phone. But as soon as I turn one of those devices back online and have the app running on my phone, it's going to pop up and get detected, and it will let me know that it's downloading those 3 photos. If you ever want to see, what's downloading or what's needed, you can click on that little box there and you see what's going. So for example, I had 2 screenshots and such that I made because I was troubleshooting a bug. And I have that PDF there of the user manual. So that makes it easy for me to know like what's still syncing between devices. Now, you can also go ahead, and if there's things that you don't want, just clear them out. And remember, when you delete, you are removing across all your devices, and it makes that update. Okay, let's go ahead, and I'm just gonna move down here a little bit. And I wanted to point out, as we're working, just some of the core here between the different views. If you haven't noticed, the interface has been refreshed a bit. Now, this started with our preview releases, but it's now really coming into play. And you'll notice that there's some key changes here from the left side to the right side. So, for example, if you need to access specific things, these are views. And so we're going to be taking a look at just a moment at our search view. And that's a new dedicated view that makes it easy for you to discover or find particular content that you're looking for. So maybe you're trying to locate a specific file or a specific container. So in this case, I typed in the word dog, and you see that it used a combination of AI object recognition to find photos of dogs. We'll have debates later of dogs versus cats. It found dogs that I had named in my people tag, folders called dogs, places, and then places where it recognized the text. Wanted to point out here that this is very versatile. So as you search, you can start to locate things, right? So if you do a word search, I typed in the word star, it updates. I want to point out too that if we add an asterisk to that, then that means that and any other characters that follow. And so you see it starts to update and we get new results. We also then have our all photos view where we can see all of our content. We have our life calendar, which displays our content across the board on a calendar. And then we have our maps and our other views here, which allow us to navigate between that content. Now, as we're making these switches and going through all of our content, there is definitely areas where we can examine and explore to get a pretty good idea of what our content here is within the library. All right, let me just do a quick refresh here. And we'll keep going. All right, are there any questions? I see a couple there. So Lori, what are the questions that have come in? And then we'll have our first guest.
Okay, we've got a question, let's see here, from Yolanda. She's asking about, she's deleted duplications from various folders, and then several days later, she discovered duplications were back. It seemed, do you see that up in the Q&A?
I do, and I'm going to let JC go deeper on that one later. But what I'll say to you is that I don't know if you're deleting with Mylio's tools or if you were going through the Finder and operating system and making changes there, because there are options like Safe Delete, which will try to restore things that you manually delete at the operating system level. So depending upon what you did and how you did it, that could have been something that came into play there. So just something to think about depending upon how you are accessing that content, okay? What's our next one?
Jane is asking, once you have all the dog photos, how do you move all the photos to a current or new album?
Sure, we can do that. So let me just reshare my screen here. I'm just going to switch for a moment and give me 1 second. Now, if you want the maximum performance without using things, I'm just going to switch out of Spaces really quick and show all my pictures for a moment. And here we are, we're doing a search. So you had asked about, if you found content, how could you do that? So 2 things. This is ultimately designed to be singular, meaning finding a single thing. But if you click on something, like, for example, one of the AI bugs we're fixing is cardigan is also the name of a dog. And so sometimes it cross-references and shows up here. So that's like one of those little tiny bugs. But if I click here and I say show in all photos view, it's going to reveal all the photos that match that search criteria. Notice how it applied it here as a pin. And so now that makes it easy. If I want, I could then, select all of these and then just say, hey, add that to a new album. And then I'll just navigate and I could choose an existing album or make a new album and just call it dogs. And then obviously with that, we might decide to clean that album up. Remember, an album is a virtual container, so there's probably things in there you don't want. This was relying upon a mixture of things to find it. It could have been the folder name. It could have been text recognition. So I might not want all of that in there. Also, a great way to quickly clean that up is you could take advantage of the quick review option, which just allows you to sort of fly through, and you can even use keyboard shortcuts or just mark your picks and rejects, see? And so I can go very quickly through and decide what's in there and just navigate. But that's an easy way to add everything to an album. And so when you're in those search results, you could just right click and tell it that you wanted to reveal or show all of those search results and then what view it opens it up. Similarly, you can choose to see everything in a folder or everything on the calendar. And what's great about Search View is you can actually return to it, so it becomes possible to come back to it. And remember, you can even use your filters on that. So if you wanted to say, hey, I want to see pictures of dogs, but then maybe I type in the word person and it uses it, and I could, click on that AI pill, right? There it is. And I could say, hey, I want pictures of dogs that don't have people in it. We can exclude a pill. And right now it's processing that request and it updates. And so now I got pictures that pretty much just had dogs, or that the AI didn't recognize a person in. So you see it whittled it down a little bit. And remember, this is still an album, so it's very easy for you to go through and make those adjustments and decide what to keep or get rid of as you're cleaning up that album. Okay? So pretty straightforward. Good. Any more questions, Lori?
Actually, Rich,
go ahead.
Sorry, Lori,
go ahead.
if I can jump in here, there's 2 questions that are related, and both have to do with spaces, which we'll be covering in great detail later. But if you're seeing the words public on the top of the screen in your user interface in Mylio, that means that you are in the public space. And you can click on the tool for spaces, which Rich is going to show you where that button is, and switch to a different space. Likewise, Diane is saying that with the installation of version 24, the cover photos on some of her folders and people change. That is also likely related to spaces, because if you have photos that were in their certain categories, and those photos are now hidden because of the space that you're in, it's going to change those photos. So switch to the everything space. And Rich, if you could just quickly show space, I know we're going to cover it in great detail later, but if you switch to the everything space, you should be able to see your original cover photos again.
Yeah, spaces are going to be right there on the right-hand side there, that little icon, and you can just click to switch on over. Pretty straightforward.